There is a specific kind of peace found by putting your head in the sand. If you don't check your bank account, then you're not broke. And if you don't check your text, then you haven't been rejected. But avoidance peace is a lie. Oh yes, it is a lie. It's a debt you're accruing with interest. I talk a lot in my videos about resistance, yeah? And your resistance, your avoidance, yeah, makes it worse, yeah? If you resist, it persists. Now, the reason I am nodding along to what I'm saying is because this is probably one of my biggest problems. I look at my bank account like less than a handful of times a year because I just don't want to know, right? I stare at the post that's dropped through my door because I don't want to open it. I avoid, okay? So in this video, we're going to look at what happens when we put our head in the sand or procrastinate, yeah? And what we can do to change that behaviour. Because actually, if you are someone who does this, it feels like a huge problem, doesn't it? Yeah, it feels like a very heavy burden that you're carrying. It does for me anyway. I'm actually hoping that this video is going to help me as much as it's going to help you. Fingers crossed. Because now I'm broadcasting it, I'm going to actually have to do something about it. Okay, so yeah, why do we stick our head in the sand? Well, really, the reason why we're avoiding something generally is because of fear, yeah? It might be that you procrastinate and you could be a student and you've got a lot of work that you've got to hand in and you think about the work that you've got to do and it just seems so overwhelming that you decide to do something else. Yeah? I'm great at doing that. Oh, I'll paint some pebbles. Oh, I don't know, I'll paint some leaves. Oh, I'll just flick my fingernails for hours on end because that's what they really need. Yeah? Yeah? You do that, don't you? You'll find anything to do other than the thing you're meant to be doing. And if anyone mentions to you that you've got to do this thing, right, you become defensive because it's your biggest fear, yeah, because you are scared. So it's like, no, I am doing it, no, you don't understand. Yeah? Yeah. Okay. So together, we're going to get through this. We're going to crack the code, okay? So how are we going to do that then? Right, so we know that our resistance to this thing is the problem. Yeah, our resistance to doing our homework, to doing that work project you don't want to do, to opening your bank statements, to opening your post. Your resistance to doing that is the biggest problem. And whilst you're resisting, it hasn't actually gone away. Yeah, because you might think you're sort of putting the duvet over your head and ignoring it, but actually you're not, are you? You're not really escaping from it, because it's constantly in the back of your mind. For me, at the moment, this is the biggest thing that is disturbing my peace. I can't, each day, I can't sort of feel relaxed or happy, because I've constantly got this burden on my shoulders of what I know I should be doing, but I'm too fearful to do. Yeah? Okay. So, it's a fear, right? And when we look at fear, what is fear? Well, fear is actually an illusion. What do I mean by that? Okay, so maybe you know someone who has OCD. Now, OCD is really here we go, another word that I know I can't pronounce, debilitating, yeah? I have a close family member with OCD, and it's, oh my gosh, it's a really tricky thing to manage, yeah? And people with OCD tend to have like irrational fears. So for example, someone with OCD may have a fear of buttons, yeah? So they can't wear any clothes that have buttons on them, they can't have any bags with buttons, they just can't deal with buttons. Now you might say, that's so crazy. How could someone be scared of buttons? It's just a button. Yeah, but it's not about the button. It's about the fact that that's their fear. But because we can look at it from a different angle to how they're looking at it and buttons frighten them. Yeah? Yet we're looking at it and we're saying a button's just a button. Well, we can use that same thought process and apply it to our own fear. Yeah? Because actually this is really important, because it can really affect your mental health. I know it has been affecting mine quite substantially, actually. You know, I might sort of say, I wish I had someone who was good at paperwork and could do all these things for me. But I don't, okay? Right? That's the reality. The reality is I don't. And the reality is I've got to manage it, okay? And that's what we're going to do. So we've got this massive fear, okay? So we're going to like, boop, do what I like to do. We're going to think, okay, so I have got a fear, yeah? Okay, this is the thought process you're going to work through, yeah? I'm just going to use an example, okay? I'll use one of my fears, right? I've got a fear of checking my bank balance. I know I've got to do it because I know I've got a bill to pay. Oh, that's another fear. I've got another fear of checking how much the bill is I need to pay. Why? Because I'm worried I can't pay it. Yes, but there can be solutions to those problems, yeah? If you can get to the point where, okay, you might not be able to pay that bill, but maybe you can liaise with someone and they can help come to some sort of agreement with you, okay? So I have a fear of checking my bank balance, okay? So we're going to take that fear out and we're going to look at it, okay? We're just going to look at that fear. Now, my fear is like some cartoon character, like Mr. Man, crazy looking thing that's going, ah, right? Okay, because by observing it, by seeing it for what it actually is, it's a fear. It's our thought, isn't it? Our emotion is fear. Okay, so we're observing our fear. Okay, now we have been resisting our fear. And whilst we've been doing that, our fear has gone from a tiny little thing to like this massive creature. Yeah? But fear is just an illusion. It's my fear. It's not anyone else's fear. Okay? Now again, the therapy that is used in OCD to help people into a recovery from OCD, or help them at least manage their OCD, is to actually face their fears. And they do it one step at a time. So someone with OCD may have like 15, 20 fears, and they'll list them down, and then you tackle the one that seems the most manageable, okay? And when you tackle the one that seems the most manageable and you do it, poof, that fear dissolves. Oof, it's gone, right? And you get left going, oh, that was all right. And you slowly work through the list until actually you can manage, the person who has OCD manages to face, for example, picking up a button, yeah? Because they've learned, their brain has sort of reprogrammed itself to understanding that their fear was just a thought. And actually, if they confront their fear head on, the fear dissolves. Now, doesn't that sound magical? Oh, doesn't that sound like a big relief, a big exhale of air? Yeah, can you imagine that? You have this massive fear, this big worry of something you've got to tackle, and actually that fear dissolves. Yeah? So that's what we are going to do, okay? Now I have a list because we're going to do it together, right? And I will follow up later on in the week and report back to you how I managed, okay? So I have a list currently mainly all to do with paperwork and bill paying and that sort of thing, okay? So mine are all paperwork based, but I have about 4 that really require urgent attention, okay? So I am going to make a promise to myself, because I realise that this can't carry on. I realise by avoiding the things I'm frightened of avoiding, I'm actually going to probably put myself in a far worse situation, okay? So I am going to tackle my list one at a time. Now you can time this if you like, yeah? Because because it feels so overwhelming, because you're like overwhelmed with what you've got to do, if you can break it down and say, well, do you know what? I'm actually going to only tackle this for 15 minutes, okay? In my day of being awake, 15 minutes is very small. And I can do that. And then after 15 minutes, I'm going to go and make a cup of coffee, which is what I love. And I'm going to enjoy that and get on with my day. And the next day, I might do 20. Now, you might find when you sit down to tackle it for 15 minutes, that you have such a relief that you're actually finally doing the thing you've avoided. You might do it for half an hour, yeah? But you just got to be brave, yeah? You've just got to, and you're doing this for you, yeah? You're doing this for you. You've got to go. I often talk to myself like in my head. I'm always telling myself off or whatever. So it's like, I will say, my name's Catherine, by the way. I will say, come on, Catherine, come on. You are doing it. No, you're not going out and walking the dog yet. Arnold can wait for his walk for 15 minutes. You are going to sit down and tackle this. You're not going to find a reason why you can't do this now, because actually this is important. Yeah? Okay, do you think you can do that? I know you can. And the relief you feel afterwards will be immeasurable. Okay? So that's what we're going to do. We're going to realize that the fear around what we've got to do is probably greater than what we've actually got to do. We realize that by not tackling it, it's growing bigger in our heads, but also it might become a big problem outside of our heads, yeah? And that we can manage it, yeah? We can manage it. This fear we can manage. And afterwards, we're going to feel so much better for it. So, do that for me, please, yeah? And I will do it too. Well, don't do it for me, do it for yourself, okay? Yeah? And I too am going to do this, and I will report back. I've said it now, I've got to do it. Okay. All right. Thank you for listening today. I do hope this has helped, because actually I do really understand what a huge problem this can be if you're someone like me who this is a big issue for. So just remember, it is just a fear, okay? Think of those buttons, yeah? But you're afraid of buttons, yeah? But you're afraid of checking your bank account. Come on, you can do it. Push through that fear and watch that fear dissolve, okay? I know it's hard, but you can do it. As always, I'm sending you lots of love and light. Please do subscribe and become part of our family. Just would love to have you come into the fold and just be a part of a warm, loving, kind, safe community. And if you found this video helpful, do give it a like. And what's the other one? Oh yes, I love your comments. I will always answer. And I go, oh, when I see I've got a comment, I love it. So please do comment. Maybe let me know what it is that you're currently avoiding. Okay. And as always, have a wonderful day. Lots of love to you. Bye.